Welcome to The Explainer. I am so glad you're here today because, well, we're going to embark on a pretty massive transformation. For the next few minutes, just think of me as your mentor. Our goal today isn't to toss you some hot tip or whisper a secret stock symbol in your ear. No way. Instead, we're going to transform you from an emotional, maybe somewhat amateur investor who relies a bit too much on hope into a disciplined professional who relies on cold, hard, historical market truths. We're building a foundation here, one that's going to serve you for an absolute lifetime. So let's kick things off with a question. What actually separates a wildly wealthy investor from someone who literally loses it all? Most folks just assume it's a crazy high IQ, maybe an Ivy League education, or just getting super lucky on some random penny stock. But history tells us something completely different. Actually, a high IQ can be a massive liability if it comes paired with stubbornness. What truly wins out in the stock market is a strict, ego-free, rules-based system. And that is exactly what we're going to dive into today. Here's our roadmap for today's masterclass. 1. Start your investing journey. 2. Rule 1. Cut your losses. 3. Mastering fear and ego. 4. The Can Slim offense. And 5. The new investor checklist. We'll get your journey officially underway. Learn the ultimate rule of defense, tackle your biggest enemy, which is your own mind, and then pivot to a proven offense to find those massive winners. We'll wrap the whole shebang up with a simple checklist. All right, Section 1, start your investing journey, getting in the game with the right setup. Because let me tell you, the absolute best time to start learning all of this is right now. A lot of beginners think they should practice first with fake money, what we call paper trading. But honestly, I want you to avoid paper trading entirely. Why? Well, because running a paper portfolio just isn't the same thing as having your actual hard-earned money on the line in the real battlefield of the market. There's this old trader story I love about a guy bragging he could shoot the stem off a wine glass at 100 yards. His buddy just looks at him and says, "Yeah, but can you do it with a loaded pistol pointed right at your heart?" It's a great point. Paper trading completely removes the hope, the fear, and the greed that absolutely hijack your brain when real money is at stake. To truly learn how to manage that fear, you need to open a cash account with a reliable broker and just put a little skin in the game. Moving right along to Section 2. Rule 1, cut your losses. The absolute ultimate defense. This right here is the foundation of everything we're going to do together. Because before we can even talk about making money, we really have to talk about protecting it. I want you to burn this number into your memory. 8%. This is the absolute hard line in the sand. If a stock you buy drops 8% below your purchase price, you must sell it. No questions asked, no second guessing, and definitely no waiting around hoping it bounces back. You just sell. Your risk in literally any single stock is always capped at 8%. Okay, let's dive into this and look at the frankly devastating math of holding on to losers. If you follow that disciplined 8% rule, you only need an 8.7% gain on your very next stock just to break even. Pretty easy, right? But what if you get stubborn? Say you let a stock drop 50%. Your capital is literally cut in half. That smaller pool of money now has to work so much harder, meaning you actually have to make a massive 100% gain just to get back to zero. Think about it. How often do you buy stocks that miraculously double in price? Not very often for sure. So please don't dig a hole you can't climb out of. I get it. People hate selling at a loss because it makes them feel like they made a huge mistake. But we need to reframe this. Think of it exactly like buying insurance. You buy insurance to protect yourself against the remote possibility that you could suffer a major loss, right? Did you buy fire insurance for your house last year? Probably. Did your house burn down? Hopefully not. But since it didn't, were you mad that you wasted your money? Of course not. Cutting a loss at 8% is simply taking out a little insurance policy against a totally catastrophic financial wipeout. Just look at these small controlled losses as your tuition to Wall Street. Let's transition into Section 3, mastering fear and ego. Overcoming your own worst enemies. Because frankly, human nature is working entirely against us in the market. There's this absolutely fascinating contrast in mindset based on the wisdom of legendary trader Jesse Livermore. Just look at the amateur. When a stock drops, they just sit there, paralyzed, hoping it goes back up. And when a stock actually goes up and they finally have a profit, they suddenly get terrified of losing it, so they sell way too early. They've got it totally backward. The professional does the exact opposite. They fear a small loss ballooning into a huge one, so they cut it immediately. And when a stock is winning, they hope it goes even higher, so they just let it run. All right, I've got to give you a little bit of tough love here about ego-driven mistakes. If you combine a margin account, which is basically investing with borrowed money from your broker, with zero discipline for selling losers, you are guaranteeing a complete financial wipeout. Let me repeat that. Borrowed money plus no sell discipline equals disaster. I really don't care how smart you are. Brains, advanced degrees, pure pride, those are deadly substitutes for sound rules. Borrowing money increases your risk exponentially. The market doesn't know who you are, and it certainly doesn't care about your ego. You have to leave it at the door, or the market is absolutely going to take your money.
Okay, Section 4, the CanSlim offense, hunting the biggest historical winners. Now that you've got your 8% defense locked in, you're ready to learn how to aggressively hunt for the best stocks out there. Let's switch gears and play a little offense. The strategy we're talking about here isn't based on my personal opinion or some hot tip overheard at a barbecue. No, it comes directly from William J. O'Neill's groundbreaking 45-year study of the absolute greatest stock market winners of all time. His team built models of every outstanding stock going all the way back to 1953. You know, the ones that doubled, tripled, or shot up 20 times in price. They wanted to see exactly what they had in common right before those massive runs. And that starting year, 1953, is absolutely crucial. It means this study covers decades of boom and bust cycles, proving this isn't just a fluke, it's a timeless system. And what they found were 7 incredibly specific recurring traits.
So those 7 traits form the acronym CanSlim. The biggest winners share these exact characteristics, and it's vital you understand why. The C and A stand for current and annual earnings. We're looking for explosive current quarterly earnings, up at least 18%, and annual earnings growth of 30% or more. We want real fundamental growth here. The N stands for something new. This is the spark. Maybe it's a groundbreaking new product, a visionary new CEO, or the stock itself breaking into new price highs. S and L are about supply and demand and finding market leaders rather than laggards. We want the absolute undisputed heavyweights of an industry. The I is huge, institutional sponsorship. You want to see the big mutual funds buying in because they're the ones with the billions of dollars needed to actually push a stock's price up significantly. And finally, M is market direction. You literally only hunt for these traits when the broader market is in a confirmed uptrend. We're not dumpster diving for cheap bargains here. We are hunting for the highest performing companies on earth.
So the crucial point is knowing exactly when to buy these amazing companies. You can't just buy them randomly on a Tuesday. You have to wait for the pivot point. This is the exact optimal moment when a stock breaks out of a consolidation period. Think of a consolidation period like a stock is just taking a breather, resting and building strength, moving sideways to form a solid, stable base on a chart. When it finally bursts out of that resting phase and pushes into new high ground on massive trading volume, bam, that is your pivot point. Forget that old cliche, buy low and sell high. In the real stock market, you actually want to buy high and sell a whole lot higher. Entering right at that pivot point is your safest bet.
Finally, Section 5, the new investor checklist. Taking actionable steps today. Let's bring all these powerful concepts together so you know exactly what your next moves are. Here's your step-by-step foundation to get going. Step 1, open a cash brokerage account. And remember what we said, absolutely no margin borrowing while you're learning the ropes. Step 2, use those CanSlim fundamental rules we just talked about to evaluate new stock ideas. You're looking for top-rated companies, and you're only pulling the trigger when they break out into new highs at that precise pivot point. Step 3, play relentless defense. Cut all your losses at an 8% maximum, period. No exceptions. And step 4, keep a chart of your buys and sells and actually sit down to do an annual post-analysis. Be brutally honest with yourself about your winners and your losers so you can continually learn from your mistakes. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to leave your ego at the door and follow the rules of history's greatest market winners? The framework is sitting right in front of you, proven by literally decades of hard market data. The only thing missing right now is your own discipline to actually execute it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now get out there, protect your capital, and let's go hunt down some massive winners.
In conclusion, thank you for joining me today. I look forward to our next discussion.